And I think that's where I've come to, is that to understand redemption as we live in a world where Paul says the wages of sin are death. In other words, what we're owed for the consequences of the choices we've made,
Yeah.
our wage for that is death. That's how the world functions. And you can watch the news for 5 minutes and see that that's reality and that that's the case. And redemption is the idea that God knows that we're being wrongfully possessed by death. And so he chooses to enter into our world and to go through death to bring us through death into life on the other side of death. So that death isn't the end of our story.
Yeah.
And sin and chaos no longer possess us, but we're in the possession of another. And that's our identity. And we forget that identity often, and we go back to sin, and we stumble, and we still have prideful thoughts and things that we wrestle with and struggle with. But at the end of the day, our identity is we are redeemed. And I think that's the psalmist says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so.
Yeah.
He's making an identity statement
Yeah.
about who they are. And that's kind of what Tebow's going to get at. And it's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
I haven't heard it.
We can react to it.
Good question. I want to ask you, how do you want people to actually see you? But I can answer the question first if you want me to.
I can answer that. I think after having a kid, I cared a lot less about how the world sees me. I think before that, I really kind of defined myself by like my work. And that was like my identity. And like, as long as these things were going well, then and the way that people
also put my identity and stuff far too often.
Yeah.
I have to battle it. I would say that probably one of the areas that I want to always correct is when people put me on a pedestal. One of the first things that I say is that I don't ever deserve to be on that pedestal. I always want to try to take myself off and put Jesus on the pedestal. Because if people watch or look at me long enough, I will let them down.
And is it a fear of letting them down?
Well, fear is part, but it's also, I am, sometimes because of the media and the hype of certain things and whatever, it's just like, well, you're this or this or this, and you're praying and you're this. And it's like, no, man, I'm a screw up that is just, that I'm a screw up that gets
so funny you say that.
Like, I if you look at, so I'll give you an example. When, for my freshman year at the University of Florida, for home games, we'd get on the bus and we'd drive to the stadium. Our stadium's called the Swamp. And we would get out about 100-ish yards away and we would walk down something called the Gator Walk. And for a average game, 10, 15,000, bigger game, 20.
Did you ever go to a game and do the Gator Walk?
I haven't done the Gator Walk. I've
Haven't
been to
done the
games,
But you never did
haven't done the Gator Walk.
Okay.
No. Okay.
25,000. Like, it gets you ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, and first couple times it was awesome. But then, man, when I started walking down it after the first few weeks and stuff's going good and we're winning and I'm playing, and there'd be people that would be wearing my jersey, and I'd have these thoughts and these voices in my head of, oh, you're somebody now. And I'd have these voices of like pride and arrogance. And then I would keep walking and there'd be a mom or dad with their son or their daughter. And they would say, hey, I just want you to know you're a son's role model. You're a daughter's role model. And I wouldn't have confidence in it. I'd actually have shame. And I would just want to say, no, sir, no, ma'am. Not if you knew me on my worst day, I wouldn't be their role model. Not if you knew my worst thoughts, my worst actions, my worst deeds, I wouldn't be their role model. And then you keep going, and there would be always opposing fans that would be saying stuff, and I would run and retaliate, and I would be angry. That would be its own voices. And then there would always be near the end, even though there's not supposed to be media, right? There's somehow always media, and you always see it. They're walking right in front of you. The camera's literally right in front of your face, and they're asking some, grandiose question, and it would start to hit me, this fear of you're not enough. And I thought, man, I can't do this every week, because I think all of those things are true.
You're not enough for their perception of you, or you're not enough
just to handle all of it.
I want to pause there.
All right.
What he said in that story he's telling, I feel like we all can resonate with, right? All of us have just all kinds of voices in our head. And I want to he's going to keep going.
Okay.
So we'll get back to what he says in a second. But there's a song I love by an artist named Sturgill Simpson called Voices. And the chorus goes, "How I wish somebody would make these voices go away. It seems they're always talking, but they ain't got much to say." And we all have this internal dialogue in our head and these voices coming at us. And I think it can convince us that, or make us question our identity and make us question who we are, make us question our role in the world, and ultimately make us feel like we are not enough. So I'm just curious, how does that hit you? Do you resonate with that at all?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're in a role, especially that you're a leader of something,
Yeah, absolutely.
you're responsible to, not just make good decisions and perform well, but do it in a way that is respect worthy, is honorable, is an example for others, to say something of value that's authentic and isn't just made up or surface level. There's an exposure there. I think they call it like imposter syndrome, something like that, where you go, oh man, a lot of what I say is my own aspiration for myself. The Apostle Paul talks about that, and he was charged with writing most of the New Testament, and yet in a moment of vulnerability, in Philippians, he says, hey, I'm writing about these things, but I haven't attained all these things, but I keep pressing on toward it. I think the reality of realizing that you yourself, I myself, have not obtained the wisdom, maturity, the level of, I guess like what Tim Tebow's saying, like to be deserving of the role or any accolades or honors or whatever else, like the way other people see you, you realize, like he says, well, there's more to the picture that you can't see. And if you could see all of it, no doubt that would change your perception. I feel that.
Yeah.